Angry MGTOW here, and today I'm discussing how Donald Trump will kill feminism and women's rights. To be very honest, you have to understand that Donald Trump is partially giving women enough rope to hang themselves with. You see, women are doing this all on their own. They are single handedly pushing for the death of feminism. Been doing it for a long time, and this is what has led to the death of feminism in 2017. But how Donald Trump will put the final nails in the coffin of not only feminism but women's rights is going to happen in a multitude of ways. First off, let me show you a video quickly. We're just going to jump to the video. This is a video that was broadcast on C-SPAN 3. And this actually happened in the last 24 hours. This is a DNC chair candidate. So someone currently who wants to lead the DNC. And I don't have her name. I didn't even bother to look it up. Let me see if I can find it for you. Her name is Sally Boynton Browne. And I'm not going to spoil it. I want you guys just to listen to what she says. Listen to what she says about white people. And when you hear this, you'll understand how Donald Trump is going to kill feminism in many ways, not even by lifting a finger.
And my job is to shut other white people down when they want to interrupt. My job is to shut other white people down when they want to say, oh no, I'm not prejudiced. I'm a Democrat. I'm accepting. My job is to make sure that they get that they have privilege. And until we shut our mouths and we listen to those people who don't.
So, did you hear what she just said? Her job is to shut other white people down, to shut other white people up, and so that they listen. But guess what? Who's speaking right now? She's speaking. So essentially, it's a feminist agenda to silence whites, specifically white men. That is what feminism is. And, that's how the polls ended up happening. That's how Donald Trump became president. Because people could no longer speak anymore. They were afraid to talk about the issues that were bothering them. So what ended up happening? They went into the poll booths. And in the poll booth, you don't have to argue. You can just put it all out there. And they voted for Trump. And when you see, this happened after Trump became president. Trump's already been sworn in. He's been president for about 3 or 4 days now. And this woman is talking about, I will shut other white people down. Tell them to shut up and listen. And in an extended version of this clip, she actually rants about the Black Lives Matter movement and why it's so important and all this other crap. It's no surprise. It is no surprise whatsoever that Donald Trump is president and he's going to get reelected in 2020. Trust me, they are making the argument for him. But how is Donald Trump going to kill feminism and women's rights, aside from what women like this are doing? She is right here. She is killing feminism. She's putting the final nails in the coffin as well by saying, my job is to shut other white people down. Tell them to shut up and listen. She's shutting up white men. She's also shutting up white women. And now that white women see that they're being censored, they don't like it. So what are they doing? Now they want the alpha male, the biggest alpha in the room. I'm looking at an article that was published on Fox News Politics. And, I'm going to play around. Let me see if this is the first time I'm going to use this feature. So let's see if I can use this wonderful little feature. Let's see how it will play out. But it essentially lets me capture a browser source. And with browser source, I essentially can show you guys a webpage. So let's see if I can show you the webpage that I'm looking at right now. See if I can show you guys the webpage I'm looking at. And essentially, it's a webpage for Fox.com, Fox News. Control V. And you can actually see, here we go. I was able to add it. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Okay.
Continuing now with our lead story, Donald Trump on the job at the White House. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. Did I miss anything about the first day, Charles?
No, but I think there's something about the march that is, I think, even more.
So, as you guys can see, I was able to actually show you a little bit off the page. And on the page, it's essentially just talking about the reasons why Trump has ordered a hiring freeze for much of the federal government. So Donald Trump has recently he's recently ordered a hiring freeze for most of the federal government. And as a result of that, a lot of women are now going to be out of the job. A lot of women are going to find themselves out of work because of what Trump has done. Because we know that women, a lot of the jobs that women have today, that they hold, are actually provided to them by the federal government. And as Donald Trump is pulling away these jobs and saying, okay, well, we're cutting back on federal jobs, you're going to have more and more women out of work. This is just one of the ways in which Donald Trump is now going after feminism. It's one of the ways Donald Trump is calling it out for the bullshit movement that it is, for the crap that it is, for the infection society that it is. It's just one of the ways that Donald Trump is attacking feminism. It's one of the ways he's killing it off. If there are fewer federal jobs, if there are fewer federal government jobs, there are fewer jobs for women. There are fewer jobs for women to fall upon. Fewer jobs for women, that means more women out of work. As we can see, he's also going to cut these things such as Fight for 15, that shit's done. All of this stuff, companies are pushing women out. They're replacing jobs that women traditionally held. I don't know if men realize it, but there's actually a major need for construction workers in the United States right now. A major need for construction workers in the US. And it's going to only grow. There's actually not enough men who are qualified to do these jobs right now. Not enough men that are qualified to actually do the jobs as construction workers right now, which is becoming a problem. But it actually creates an interesting opportunity because there's more jobs now for men than they can fill. And as a result of that, that's really changing things. So just for one, cutting these federal jobs, ordering a hire freeze for much of federal jobs is paramount. Now, I want you to also notice something else. In the same article, unfortunately, I wasn't able to show you everything from it. I'll basically point this out. President Trump on Monday issued an executive order implementing a hiring freeze across the federal government, with exceptions only for military, national security, or public safety personnel. These are going to be, and if you notice, military, national security, and public safety personnel. Guys, these are all jobs that are specifically traditionally held by men. Are you noticing a pattern? He's cutting the jobs that women typically deviate to, and he's focusing on national security jobs that help boost the economy in terms of national security, and jobs that predominantly men hold. All the female jobs are vanishing. I talked about birth control. Donald Trump is cutting free birth control. That's gone. He's cutting access to Planned Parenthood funding. He wants to wipe out Planned Parenthood. He made it very clear that he was going to appoint a justice that would repeal Roe versus Wade. The ruling, Roe versus Wade, that passed in 1973 that allowed women to get abortions nationally. He said that will be repealed, and then it will be handled on a state level. So women will no longer be able to get abortions federally, nationally. It'll be handled on the state level. And you could already imagine that Texas is going to ban abortions. Florida, may ban abortions, it may come to the point where the only states that actually allow abortions will be places like New York and California. And guess what? If these states allow abortions, there's always an incentive by the government that they can use to block them from actually offering abortions. For example, there's a thing called the Highway Safety Spending Bill. And they use the Highway Safety Spending Bill to get the legal age, drinking age raised. So people don't know that the legal drinking age is not it's not a government thing. It's not something that the government has in place. It's something that states have in place. Essentially, the states can actually lower the drinking age if they want to. But the government has made it clear that if you lower the drinking age below 21, then you're at risk of losing federal aid. Federal highway safety aid, federal aid. So basically, money to build your bridges, your roads, your infrastructure. The government will cut back on that. The same concept can be used when blocking funding for abortion rights in a state. The government could say, well, you guys offer abortions, so we may not offer you as much state aid, for your hospitals, for your healthcare system, because you offer abortions. We'll offer more to states that don't offer abortion services and instead focus on actual health services that help people and preserve life. That could be a major incentive for states not to offer abortion services at all. Like I said, guys, money talks and bullshit walks, and at the end of the day, people will ultimately choose not to. States will ultimately choose predominantly not to offer abortions if they figure that it's going to hinder their ability to receive government and federal funding. This is just one of the many ways that Donald Trump is going to kill women's rights. You want to talk about housing? Ben Carson is a product of inner city housing. He hates it. He hates Section 8. He relates the concept of Section 8 to slavery. Keeping people in a perpetual cycle of poverty is a form of control in his eyes. He believes that the only way people can rise out of poverty is if they do it on their own, with limited government intervention. The government shouldn't be telling people where to live, how to live, and shouldn't be giving them money to live. People have to do that for themselves. Something interesting that Ben Carson said, I read this on a New York Times article. His mother would always tell him that most of the problems that people have in life, they're responsible for them. We create most of our own problems. He believes in tough love. And, one of the things that Donald Trump has already done is that he's already immediately cut funding that would make it easier for first-time home buyers, people to purchase homes that did not actually have adequate income to purchase a home. So low-income people are now going to have a much harder time purchasing homes, specifically women. So programs that are specifically designed for women to go and purchase properties, HUD subsidized properties, all of that crap. That shit's going out the window as well, guys. I don't know if you understand that what's happening is Donald Trump is cutting all of these things. Food stamps. Donald Trump talked about food stamps about 10 years ago, and he gave his opinion and take on food stamps. He said that food stamps are not around for people to stay on them, to live on them for 10 years. No one should live on food stamps for 10 years. 10 years. There's going to be time limits on food stamps. There are lots of women who've been on food stamps for 10 years now or more. And they just keep having more and more kids. Or they're just low income. If you're a low income person and you don't have wages, you don't have any money, you can theoretically in many states live on food stamps for the rest of your life. There are 46 million people on food stamps in the United States. The vast majority of those people are women. Someone says in the comments, why don't men just understand that Donald is sexist? Donald is the same guy that talked about rating women on a scale of 1 to 10, comparing their bodies alongside his eldest daughter, Ivanka. When he was on the Howard Stern show a few years ago, Howard Stern said to him, Ivanka, she's a real beauty. He says, is it okay if I refer to her as a piece of ass? Donald Trump said yes. He said it is okay to refer to Ivanka as a piece of ass. He shook his head yes. He's made it clear that even his own daughter is a piece of ass. Piece of ass. If he refers to his daughter or will allow his daughter to be called a piece of ass, what do you think the general population of women are in for? Back when Donald Trump ran the Miss America pageant, he would walk into the dressing room with these women are stark naked, and he'd basically start checking out their bodies, looking them over. That, my friends, was Donald Trump for you. Felt like he owned them. Donald Trump is playing women like a fiddle. He stood in front, about a month ago, when he announced that Carrier would be keeping jobs in the state. He'd be helping to keep a factory open. He was giving a speech, and he said that women are better than men. They just are. And the women cheered. And he looked around and he goes, yeah, it's okay for me to say that, but if it was the other way around, it'd be a problem, right? He immediately called out the hypocrisy of women. Donald Trump talks about the fact that he's hired plenty of women. But really what he uses women for is their ability to manipulate men, to manipulate others. That's why he hires them, because he realizes that many of them have a skill for manipulation. So of course he's going to use that to his advantage. He also calls out unattractive women. He calls Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig. And he's not afraid to. You know, there's this song called, I saw it on television recently, where they had these two old white hipsters walking, and it was like Mr. Boombastic, Semi-Fantastic. I think it's a Jamaican song. It sounded like reggae. And I think of Donald Trump as literally that. He's Mr. Boombastic, you know? He doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks. He stands up for himself, and he is not afraid to to call out women. The whole grab her by the pussy thing, that's now national policy. No one can say shit to him. Shit. He's killing off all the subsidized programs that women have enjoyed for a long time. He's killing off the social welfare programs. He's killing off the social health care programs that women have benefited from. He's killing off the jobs that women predominantly run to in the government. He's already instituted a federal hiring freeze, guys. And very often, whenever there's a federal hiring freeze, a lot of times those things also occur on a state level. So don't be shocked if you begin seeing state level hiring freezes as well. Because more often than not, the states, they take their cues from the federal government. When the federal government stops hiring, the states will stop hiring a lot of the time. If the federal government stops giving out handouts, the states will stop giving out handouts. The reason why is because the states get their funding from the federal government. Guys, the actual ramifications of Trump becoming president have not been felt yet. That's what people don't understand. They have not been felt yet. Women have not felt the ramifications of Trump becoming president. The video I showed you earlier, where this woman telling white people to shut up, that's only another reason why Trump is going to win the election again, and why people are going to stop paying any attention to women at all, and especially anyone who calls themselves a feminist. I tell you this right now, that Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, hell, even Madonna, these women are going to start running away from the feminist label. They will embrace the legacy of feminism, but they will say, I am not a feminist. Even Beyonce will eventually come out and say that feminism served its purpose. Now we are moving into a new world of equality. She'll call it some other bullshit. Or if things are too sour, she'll start portraying herself as a housewife and a fucking saint. A born-again virgin. You know, guys, I remember when Bill Cosby, I said this before, I remember when Bill Cosby said that his best days are ahead of him. When all the rape allegations came out like last year and through 2015. And I wondered about it. Why would this guy say his best years are ahead of him? And I realized that society was headed for a downturn where women were about to lose everything, where people were about to suffer. And when people start suffering, they're going to want feel-good shows. When people start suffering, they're going to start going back to shows like the Brady Bunch, or especially like the Cosby Show, that show a firm patriarchy in place, a family structure, where women and everyone is taken care of. Where women are taken care of by the father. They are going to return to that. Do you think I'm joking? During the Great Depression, do you know what industry was booming during the Great Depression? Movie theaters! Movie theaters thrived during the Great Depression because they gave people an inexpensive way of escaping the realities of the world, if only for a little while. And when shit hits the fan, people are going to begin binging on family shows again. They're going to want to watch The Full House again. They're going to want to watch The Cosby Show again. They're going to want to watch The Brady Bunch again. They're going to want to go back to better times of the patriarchy, where there was actually a family in place. I have already said it, that baby boomer women had their children. They had their cake and they've eaten it too. It's millennial women who are perpetually fucked, that will not be having children, that will not have the choice to have children, that will have to work until they die and are going to suffer to find jobs. Not every woman can become a doctor. Not everyone wants to be a doctor. Women are not superior to men. Statistically, women typically deviate to lower paying jobs in the first place. When women find that they can't find work or they can't keep up with the standards that are now required because a very high technical level is going to be needed to be to have a lucrative 9-to-5 job in the future, women won't be able to stand up and adhere to that. They're going to want a man to take care of them. Either a woman in this new economy, you're one of two things, or a couple of things. You either have the skills to do a high level of jobs. For example, future jobs, you're going to have to know a lot of things. You're going to have to be highly educated. You're going to have to be able to multitask. You're going to have to know everything ranging from math, science, maybe a bit of computer programming. Again, there's going to be a high technical level that comes with the job market. Back when I worked in insurance, a lot of the things that I did was related to health and in psychology. And I actually, they actually pay doctors, psychologists, people in these fields to know about these things, to provide insight. People who actually work in these once lucrative 9-to-5 jobs, they're going to need advanced degrees. What do I mean? If you work in insurance and your primary job is to sell health insurance, don't think you're going to graduate with a high school diploma and then go work for State Farm or any of these companies selling health insurance. Well, State Farm's a car insurance company, but you're going to go work for Blue Cross and Blue Shield or Aetna. You're not. They are going to want people that not only have a college diploma, but they're going to want people who have advanced degrees. They're going to want to have a person who has a degree in health science, a degree in health or health administration, a person with background in that subject that actually understands the inner workings of that field. You will find people with degrees, with masters in nursing practitioner working in insurance. They are going to want people with higher levels of skill sets to have these lucrative 9-to-5 jobs. The once McDonald's job where you can go and get 40 hours a week making minimum wage, that's going to vanish. People are going to wish for those old days where they can go to McDonald's and get basic working skills. It's going to become increasingly difficult for young women going forward to also get basic skills. For them to also get basic working skills, basic work experience, without jobs as cashiers, without jobs starting off at McDonald's. They're not going to be able to get that very, very important basic job skill set that they need to move into another position. Walmart is increasingly pushing out employees. Guys, I want you to look at the way Amazon Go works. I talked about Amazon Go, and one thing that people have been saying is that Amazon's potential, their actual goal, may not even be to literally run their own chain of grocery stores. The Amazon Go technology may potentially be something that they license out to stores such as Walmart. Think about how happy Walmart would be to have Amazon Go, where they could eliminate cashiers, where they could eliminate bagging. All of that shit could be eliminated. Where customers come in, they purchase they pick up what they want, and everything gets billed automatically, and then they walk out the store with it. There's no one that bags their groceries for them. There's no one that cashes them out. There's no cash registers. There's none of that. People just come in, they pick up their shit, and they leave. Yeah, someone said in the comments, in the chat, Walmart is evil. I went to business school, guys, and one of the things we learn in business school is just how evil Walmart is and how happily Walmart will put other companies out of business. Walmart puts mom and pop companies out of business. You think they care about women? Walmart will put women happily out of business. Will put women out of work. Walmart will happily put women out of work. Bruce Dudley says black women are scared. Mr. Trump is going to dump on the worst women of all time. Black women are fucked. 96% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton. This represents the factor that that a significant portion of black women are living off government benefits. Even though black women represent something like only 6.5% of the population, they make up a large number of the social welfare programs. They're using up a large portion of the social welfare programs. What this tells us is that when Donald Trump shuts down food stamps, when he kills food stamps, when he kills Section 8, when he kills all these programs that black women are relying on even more than white women, they will have no options. They will have no one to turn to. You know, there's something else that I want to talk about, deliveries. The FCC recently they've been putting restrictions on the use of drones for deliveries. But there's another type of delivery machines that are being rolled out. These are machines that actually travel on the sidewalk. They use GPS and they actually travel on the sidewalk, and they're using them to deliver food right now. They actually travel on the sidewalk. Right now they all have a handler that comes with them. And they bring the food to the person. So someone orders food. The person who prepares the food puts the food in the machine's unit. Then it takes the food out of the restaurant and it literally carries the food. It's a small device, robot, that brings the food to the person's location within the neighborhood. Because most people order food locally. Most people order their food from a place that's close by because they want their food quickly. You don't order food from a restaurant that's, very far away. You typically order food from a restaurant that's within your neighborhood. So these machines are actually bringing food, delivering things, just driving around on the street using GPS. What you have to realize is that we're going to see more and more of these devices popping up. More and more of these devices popping up, just traveling, going about, replacing even the delivery man. You think that the idea of replacing a postman is going to die out? I'll tell you something very interesting that's been happening. In a lot of new neighborhoods, they don't actually have they don't actually have a place where you don't even have a mailbox. A lot of people no longer have the old school mailbox where the postman would walk up and put the mail in your mailbox. They have a mailbox within a community area where everyone goes and they grabs their mail from it. This saves a lot of time for the postman, meaning that it would usually take him, let's say, 20 minutes to walk, to cover an entire block. Now he puts all the mail in, he or she will put all the mail into one collective box on a block that people have to go to themselves, and this is done within like 2 minutes. This can be done in 2 to 5 minutes max. So it's saving a monumental amount of time. It increases productivity. By increasing productivity this much, they can also cut back on employees. We already see that the post office is dying, and the post office is one of the places that employs a lot of women. These jobs are also dying. Trump is killing off all the unnecessary federal jobs. The jobs that women tend to deviate to are typically the unnecessary jobs in the federal government. Trump's killing those. He's killing abortion rights. He's killing free health. He's killing free subsidized health care. He's killing birth control. He's killing free housing. He's killing free food. Where are women going to turn? They're going to try turning to men, and they're going to see a resounding no. Black women are going to collapse. White women are going to begin to whore. And it's not going to work because men have had enough. Men are saying no, and men are going their own way. I said it already that MGTOW will go mainstream because they're going to start looking for a word to call this as more and more women cry that they can't find a man to take care of them. We are entering what we call the gig economy, where basically you no longer work one job, you work a gig. And if you do well at that, you might be able to do it a couple of times. But you'll be working multiple gigs. That's how people will get by. And you will have to actually have skills. Skills. Terrorist Production says, white women do that whoring already. Well, they're going to be whoring even more. The point that I'm making is that when it comes to the gig economy, you're going to actually have to have skills that are of value, that are unique, that are real. A degree in gender studies won't cut it. You're going to have to actually be able to program, be a computer programmer. You're going to actually have to have skills working in accounting. You're going to actually have to have these skills, real skills. And you're not even going to get paid well for them. You're going to get paid based on the job. That one job. For example, I will pay you this day for this many hours of work. If I need you again, I'll let you know, but there are other people competing. Welcome to the new gig economy. Women cannot survive in a gig economy. Women are not saving anything. Guys, look at all the videos I've been doing talking about women living in their cars and why they're living in their cars. They're living in their cars because they want to travel and have endless amounts of fun and buy endless amounts of shit. They're not saving anything for the future. One guy sent me a message saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I lived in my car and I saved hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of 14 months and now I'm retired." But I pointed this out, that men and women do it differently. A man living in his car is saving and trying to get back on his feet. A woman living in her car, she's not saving anything. She's running wild. Don't misunderstand. Feminism is dead, and women help to kill it themselves. They help to kill it through their bad behavior, through their attempt to co-opt society, censor people, strip people of basic, especially white men, of basic human rights and their autonomy. They made their beds and now they're going to have to lay in them, and they're going to hate it as things go down and things continue to collapse around them. But they have no choice in the matter because they created this mess for themselves. This is how Donald Trump will kill feminism. He's killing it by eliminating government subsidized programming. He's killing it by eliminating federal jobs. He's killing it by eliminating government subsidized housing. He's killing it by eliminating, which is Section 8. He's killing it by eliminating subsidized food, which is food stamps. He's killing it by eliminating birth control, free birth control. He's killing it he's killing women's rights by pushing to repeal Roe versus Wade, which will make it much more difficult for women to get abortions in the United States. He is marching all of this progressive crap backwards. The world we will have in 4 years, the America in 4 years, will be very different than the America that we have today. That is the result of Obama and his liberal cronies destroying the freedoms that we held so dear. Women will bemoan feminism. They will mourn over it. They will scorn it for generations. Because they will say they never knew what feminism was actually going to do in the end. Do you think men want to marry these whores that have been riding the carousel all this time? Fucking dozens, sometimes hundreds of guys? No one wants to marry a whore. No one wants to marry a whore. And on top of it, women literally don't have anything to offer men anymore. They go into these relationships with so much baggage, and on top of it, their personalities are downright horrible. They offer nothing, take everything, and then have the nerve to complain. They are deplorables. You know, in one of the videos that I showed you guys earlier, these Christian girls were talking about women are giving up sex too easily. Let me tell you guys something. Men, even if women were not giving up sex easily, men still wouldn't marry them. You have to understand that the men that are having rampant amounts of sex right now are a small number of men. These women who are fucking guys left and right, they're going for the top 20% of men. They're going for the top 20% of men. So the men below those numbers are not sleeping with women left and right. They're not getting easy access to sex. A lot of these guys are at home jerking off. Jerking off or fucking hookers at best. The vast majority of men are not benefiting from so-called women's sexual liberation. Women are going out and they want to fuck the best of the men, not the worst. It's not equally dispersed. They're going after the top 20%. Even the fat, narcissistic women are doing this. The thing is, there's a lot of guys in the top 20% who will pump and dump these women. They're not marrying them, they'll pump and dump them. And this is resulting in new learned behavior for the men who are not getting laid. So when these women pop up now and say, hey, we were going to give you a chance after we've fucked 100 guys, a lot of these men are going to say thanks, but no thanks. The legal system is such a mess right now that men are afraid to have relationships with women because a lot of guys don't want to end up in jail and accused of false rape or just have to put up with the basic bullshit. I actually talked about when I ran the MGTOW United channel that women themselves would be ranting against rape laws. They would be arguing against rape laws. They would be fighting and pushing against rape laws. They would be fighting and pushing against rape laws that they helped to pioneer because they would see them as hindrances because men don't want to have anything to do with them. Women are going to start attacking all the so-called laws that were put in place to protect them, saying now that these laws are now beginning to hurt them. Because all a woman has is her sexuality. And if she can't wager her sexuality, then she has literally no cards. She has no chips to wager. That is modern feminism. That is how and why Donald Trump will kill feminism and women's rights. Because women have burnt everything to the ground. They have priced themselves out of the job market, out of the sexual and reproductive market. They've priced themselves out of society. They brought the misery onto themselves. They brought this pain and suffering onto themselves with their actions. And now millennial women will pay for the misgrievances, for the actions of the boomer women that pushed first and second wave feminism forward. Let me know if you guys agree that Donald Trump is going to he's killing feminism and women's rights by killing social welfare programs such as Section 8, food stamps, free birth control, federal jobs that typically go to women. Let me know if you agree that this is how Donald Trump is killing feminism and women's rights, and that they are dead in 2017. Let me know if you agree in the comment section. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you liked the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers.